Welcome to your yoga course. This is the first and the most important video within your physical yoga aspect. We call these asanas, and asanas are held postures. So the aim of yoga is that we're able to hold a posture for as long as possible. And these will all take us down to a sequence, and the sequence will take us to meditation. And that's the most important part of yoga, being able to just relax and completely let go. But of course, before that, the most important part of it is that we are able to reach a point of alignment. And this is why this is your very first and most important video within this section, because here we will make sure that you stay safe. As we have seen, many injuries have come about within all yoga classrooms. The problem is we cannot point fingers at anyone, because we're all learning from this practice. And this is why I am so happy to be able to share with you how you can take this to any place and anywhere you go, just to make sure you're always safe and every part of your body is strengthened without actually causing any strain. So, to begin with, we have to be careful with our knees, of course, with our hips, and our lower back, because it's all interconnected. The way that we take care of this area is by always trying to keep a very gentle bend. It's a very, very gentle bend on the knees. So even in Tai Chi, even within dance, as we move, we always bend the knees, okay? Another important aspect of it is that the feet will always be going in the same direction as your knees. So if your feet are actually going on a straight line or parallel, your knees will also be going on top of it. So you keep an eye, but just checking that your knees are on top of your toes, okay? That means if you go into a first position or an open position, whatever it may be, you are actually keeping the knees on top of your toes. Again, the knees do not go forward. That would be a killer, a knee killer. They will be open, okay? This is for all standing postures and also for all sitting postures. Especially if you put strain on it and weight on it, if you're not keeping that alignment, you will damage your ligaments, okay? So keep an eye on that. The other part is, if we have different bends, whatever the bend is, okay, we need to keep the abdomen tucked in and also the coccyx tucked in. So if you feel the need to actually push your coccyx out, we're going to avoid that. So in these postures, you will just need to push in from the solar plexus and push in from the coccyx, so you create a nice line, and then the lower back can breathe. Yeah, so that's a very important aspect. Asanas that you have to be particularly careful with are the warrior postures, for example. And so you will have the alignment of the feet and also the alignment of the spine that you have to be careful with. In terms of this, once again, double check, is the knee in the same direction as the front foot in particular? And of course, checking, is my knee in the same direction as my back foot, okay? And you will adjust it accordingly, okay? Of course, in these postures, always watch a big mistake we do within yoga and any physical practice, actually, any physical exercise, is where your knee is in relation to your heel. And this will protect your knee. It means your knee has to stay on top of your heel at all times, making it go on a very nice and straight line. So just make sure you do that. You keep that knee on top of it. It's not going forward, it's not going far forward, no. It's not going too far back, it's okay. Putting pressure on the knee, no. Okay, very gentle pressure, no pressure at all if possible. Okay, and that will make sure your knees are safe. Same thing sideways. Okay, you bend your knees, make sure you're not sideways. Okay, always above the foot. And this is just a rule for any physical practice that you may do, is stay aligned. Within the spine, also very important, you know, continue to be straight. The more you bend the knees, the more that you're able to bring more of that straight line sensation, meaning also checking where your head is in terms of it being forward and back, particularly in postures where we have to go backwards. Okay, we'll check that. Just make sure, you know, does it feel a bit heavy? Bring it back forward. Opening the chest. You open the chest from the middle of the back, not directly from the neck, okay? Actually, it goes from the middle of the back and opening up towards the sky, okay? Double check that so that you avoid any neck injuries. Going back down to the shoulders. Keep an eye on them because most of the time those shoulders actually stay very close to your ears. We want to avoid this as much as possible. So my advice to you is you breathe in, bring them really close to you, and exhale, shake them down, okay? Keep them away from you at all times, especially when you're going up, yeah? When arms are going up, the exercise is arms go up from your back rather than going up from the shoulders, okay? That's a big no. They stay as far away from your ears as possible. Great. Okay, and the last one, lower back is always the most important thing. So we go back down through the spine, come back to the hips, okay? Especially if you have hip problems, hip difficulties, we will have a lot of hip openers, which are amazing, and they will transform the whole of your being. They will open up our middle part, which is holding so many things from ourselves, and therefore we have to stay very safe. So hips, within postures, we have to be careful on how they are. Are they square or do they need to be open? So pay particular attention to the tips that I will give you, especially when one leg is in a wide angle, okay, wide angle positions, that actually the hip is going straight. If it is, you need to check how it is in relation to your legs and your feet. So for example, when we open onto Warrior 2, the back leg and the back foot needs to open sideways and we get a 90-degree angle. So really check and really listen carefully to my guidance in terms of where the feet need to be in relationship to the hips, okay? When you go onto the pigeon as well, making sure, you know, wide open postures, you really want to find out and check where your hips are in relation to it, because most people tend to open sideways, and that's not what we want. We want to close so the hips, so if you need to be up here, it needs to be there. If you need to go down, you really have to be patient, okay, so that you get a square line on most of these openings. Lovely. Another important part is when you're coming up or coming down, you want to really just go sideways, okay? You want to go sideways. You want to use your arms all the time. And this is not just a recommendation for yoga, okay? Use your elbows, yeah? It's not just a recommendation for yoga. This is for everything that you should do. And this will help you to really be on top of how you move, okay? Because most of the injuries we find are from the lower back, and therefore what we want to avoid is exactly that. Yeah, so always bend your knees. You're always safe with knees bent, especially if we have postures that will require the weight of your whole body going forwards. Yeah, bend the knees just to protect you, and I encourage you to come up as you unroll, as you work with the spine very carefully, so you are just unrolling and following the natural shape and bringing the head to the last point up. This means that you can be strong enough to hold it. It is the heaviest of all of our limbs, and so we want every single part that is holding it to be strong. So I think we're ready now. Of course, the last and most important point is the classes you're given within the physical practice need to be taken at least 3 times each before you move on to the next one. And it means you're working on your muscles and you're really strengthening before we get to the last class, which will require much more strength and flexibility. And don't give up, because what's most important is that you're able to tailor it to your own needs. Okay, so really work on keeping your body safe. Okay, doing each class at least 3 times before you move on to the next one, and fill in your progress sheet, really making careful observations on how you're keeping yourself safe and how you're thinking, how you're using your thoughts to relax and release more rather than to tense and to injure. Okay, so of course you're on top of it. It's you, it's your body who is telling you exactly what to do. So listen to it, follow these instructions, and you are ready for an amazing journey.